Aha! This is A Human Among Humans. My name is Sarah Brett, and this is the host, Michael Coran.
And what are we studying, Sarah?
Genesis chapter 24.
And what's the story about?
This is the previous section. Sarah has passed away, and in this section, it's a wife for Isaac.
And each of these chapters we're trying to show Abraham is asked by a loving, unknown, invisible voice to be a blessing and spread blessings everywhere. And so each of these chapters we're trying to understand how he's a blessing or his family's a blessing and how they're spreading blessings and how we can too. Wow, we're going to have it's been a great year for those of you who've been with us. Blessed year.
Yes.
Okay, this is a long chapter. We won't finish it, but it's chapter 24. But we will finish it next week before Thanksgiving, probably.
Abraham was now very old, along in years, and the Lord had blessed him in every way. Abraham said to his oldest servant...
Now that's a strange sentence, because he's been through so much. Mm-hmm. But maybe we can do that. I mean, he almost killed both his sons, but not really. Maybe like an initiation, right? Mm-hmm. His wife had a child from probably someone else, most probably. Mm-hmm. His child Ishmael was gone, but this says he was blessed. What does it say? Read it again.
The Lord had blessed him in every way.
I love it. May we look at our lives, Sarah Brett, and see we've been blessed in every way. I tell my father when we're walking right near his new woman's home, where he grew up in Brooklyn, by the Atlantic Ocean, which is the railing between us and the ocean. And I say to him, I must be in my 50s. I've been divorced. And I say, Dad, there's an old Hasidic Jewish belief and Hindu belief that you choose your parents. And I love my life then. It's been hard. And I choose you all over again. And my father looks at me and he says, Mike, it shows you what a lousy job I did as a father when you'd make such a dumb choice. But I would. It's been a great life. Would you say that, Sarah Brett?
I think the challenges I've had have only made me stronger.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
But I think it would have been nicer to choose an easier route.
I see. Maybe now. You'll see with Abraham, and even Isaac, they're going to get an easier route now.
Okay, good.
Because we're into easier routes now, right?
We are.
We paid
letting it go and just going with the flow.
Wow. Okay, so
Abraham said to his oldest servant, who was in charge of everything he owned, put your hand under my leg.
We won't do that on this show. We could because you wouldn't see, but we don't want to get banned in Boston, although that would be good for the ratings.
Mm-hmm. Make a promise to me before the Lord.
That's so they could try to create trustworthy deals, pacts or covenants. Put your hand between my legs. Feel that energy. That might be a way to make a deal.
The God of heaven and earth. Make a promise to me before the Lord, the God of heaven and earth. Don't get a wife for my son from the Canaanite girls who live around here. Instead, go back to my country, to the land of my relatives, and get a wife for my son Isaac.
Wow. Where were you born?
I was born in Egypt.
No, you, Sarah Brett.
Oh, I was born at Norwood Hospital here.
Oh, Norwood.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough place to find.
Yeah.
But maybe
limited.
My father found a woman who lived a few blocks from where he was born, and my brother married a woman who grew up a few blocks from where we lived in Brooklyn,
Very nice.
near Sheepshead Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved each other. It's 17 years now, I think.
Great. The servant said to him, "What if this woman does not want to return with me to this land?
He's a smart guy, the servant.
Then should I take your son with me back to your homeland?"
Well,
Abraham said to him, "No, don't take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, brought me from the home of my father and the land of my relatives, and he promised me, I will give this land to your descendants. The Lord will send his angel before you to help you get a wife for my son there."
wow. So he's telling God what to do now. God, if you're listening, this is what you're going to do. You're going to find loving partner for my dear friend Sarah Brett, and whatever is appropriate love for me at this age, which I'm getting oodles of.
If the girl won't come back with you, you will be free from this promise, but you must not take my son back there.
So this is the Match.com of the time. You find people at the well, or at the water cooler.
So the servant put his hand under his master's leg
Whoa, I like the
and
way they
made
make
a
deals.
promise to Abraham about this.
Whoa!
Wow, interesting back then.
So he wants to keep Isaac in this, it was just too far away.
Yep.
I don't want you to marry someone in California, Sarah Brett. Be sad. Happy for you, though. But,
The servant took 10 of Abraham's camels and left, carrying with him many different kinds of beautiful gifts.
so this is not just an ordinary. This is like the high class Match.com.
Yes, they're
This is
showing up with gifts.
this is first class,
Yeah.
baby.
He went to northwest Mesopotamia, to Nahor city. In the evening, when the woman came out to get water, most ancient towns had a single source of water, he made the camels kneel down at the well outside the city.
Oh, by the well. So he's really preparing. So he looks rich. Now my
Definitely.
theory is, we'll see if it holds when we read this, is that Isaac was really wounded. I mean, if you're, I don't know what it'll remind you in your family. If you were tied up
Yes.
I mean, I literally had that when I was born, and they force fed me. They held me down, and it was one reason I'm attracted to the story. Because they tried to feed me every 4 hours at the end of the 4th hour, and I refused to eat, for better or worse, and they had to force food down. So I could identify with being wounded like Isaac. I mean, we've had stuff, and we know what it's like to be wounded by families.
Oh, big time.
So, a friend of mine just went to China to find a wife. Because people who know him here is just too wounded to find anybody here.
Yeah. The servant said, "Lord, God of my master Abraham, allow me to find a wife for his son today. Please show this kindness to my master Abraham."
I want to see if it's the literal translation.
And it will be 12.
Okay, we're
Chapter
zipping along
25.
here. Yes.
Oh no, I'm wrong. 24. It is 24
Oh,
and
yes.
12.
I knew that,
Yep,
but
sorry.
I listened to you. I've been reading this so many times. Okay.
Right here.
Yes. Please make, Yahweh Elohim, Lord God of my Lord Abraham, please make it happen for me today. Do kindness to my Lord Abraham. So he's asking, not telling, but asking God what to do. And then he tells God where he is. Keep going. 13, here I am standing.
Here I am standing by the pool of water, and the daughters of the men of the town are going out to draw water.
This is Match.com or OkCupid. And now he has a way to how to know with all these available people who the right one is. Listen to his strategy.
Okay, this is great. So, I will say to one of them, please put your jar down so I can drink. Then let her say, drink, and I will also give water to your camels. If that happens, I will know she is the right one for your servant Isaac, and that you have shown kindness to my master.
Okay, so what do you think of this?
So he's looking for a thoughtful female who cares about camels
Now
as
is
well.
and cares about yes. Now is he saying this out loud?
He is. I do not believe so. He's discussing. I will say to one of them. So the servant is saying this to the Lord.
He said, "Oh, I see it, but it could be an out loud prayer, no?
It could be out loud. It doesn't say.
Could be tricky. Here is this rich guy. Well, if anybody says, I'm going to water your camels, that's the woman to marry my rich master's son. That's a pretty good ad in OkCupid. What would you do in those days if you heard this?
You're talking about if you were the woman that came
Yes,
to the watering hole?
if you were, yes, because everyone came there.
You know, I think if I was up for the adventure.
Wow!
Right?
Wow!
But it's
we were
definitely
talking about that,
tricky.
thinking outside the box.
Thinking outside the box, it would involve moving.
Well, you wouldn't want to stay with all those people from Norwood.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, so okay.
I'd be ready to get out of
You-
Norway.
and would- but it's a big thing to choose
Yeah.
an unknown husband.
Yes.
Rich, though. But that's all you know.
It would have to be a very adventurous woman who's also very kind, who is considerate with making sure that people have water, the camels have water.
Would you do that? But you wouldn't see the husband, even in arranged marriages
know,
in India,
yeah.
they have like a 2-hour meeting.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
true. It would be an extremely adventurous woman who wanted to
Or
get out of a
dumb.
bad family situation.
Oh, maybe it's a bad family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now we're talking.
Or maybe she was she'd be an orphan.
She wasn't. No.
Yeah.
No way. They respected her actually.
Before the servant had finished praying.
So what would you think of a woman who does this?
A crazy woman.
Crazy. Although I had a student at the University of Lowell, University of Massachusetts at Lowell, who was from India. She was dating, and she discovered, I can't date, all these people are poly, and you can't trust them, and you get disease. After a few days, she called or wrote her parents and said, please arrange a marriage.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
And she was happily married.
I do not blame her.
Because when they arrange, they look at the family, they see if the parents are good parents.
It's nice to have that option.
Yes.
I have to say, when you're just burnt out and you want other options.
Yes, no, more. They help you. It's a jungle out there.
It's a jungle. It is a crazy world out there.
Wow.
Playground.
Oh, playground, did you say?
I'd say it's a playground.
Where people can get sick? Wow. So maybe Rebecca is smart.
But we don't know that yet.
Okay, keep going.
Before the servant had finished praying, Rebecca, the daughter of Bethuel, came out of the city. Rebecca was carrying her water jar on her shoulder. She was,
I like the words before he finished the prayer. If he was saying this out loud, which you can pray out loud, she might have heard it. He might have wanted it to be heard. Well, if anybody, because there's a lot of work to feed 10 camels. Get water for all of them. It's a huge job.
it really is.
It's like a trial.
She was very pretty,
Oh, wow.
a
They don't
virgin.
They don't mess around. How do they know that?
I know.
What on earth?
She had never had sexual relations with a man.
I wonder. Maybe she was just wild.
She
My mother's mother. My mother was adopted. And on my mother's birth certificate, it says her mother was 16 when my mother was born. You know this from your family. And guess what the father, my mother's biological father, guess what his occupation was?
I don't know. I know your dad's a firefighter.
Yeah, but this was my mother's
mother's father.
my biological grandfather I never met. He was a traveling salesman.
Oh.
So her mother at 15
Oh.
hooked up with a traveling salesman.
Oh.
Well, that's how my mother got born though.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Thank
for me.
God for you.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I'm very happy that happened.
And you understand these things from
Very much.
Your parents' history. So who knows? You might be right. Rebecca is coming. She's a wild one. We're going to see that even beyond what we're reading on this show.
She had never had sexual relations with a man. She went down to the spring and filled her jar.
Now, why do they add this? It's very suspicious. If you saw on OkCupid, I have never had sexual relationships with a man, you'd wonder, is she a player? What on earth?
She then came back up. The servant ran to her and said, "Please give me a little water from your jar." Rebecca said, "Drink, sir." She quickly lowered the jar from her shoulder and gave him a drink. After he finished drinking, Rebecca said, "I will also pour some water for your camels." So she quickly poured all the water from her jar into the drinking trough for the camels. Then she kept running to the well until she had given all the camels enough to
That's
drink.
a lot of camels. That's 10 camels.
Yep,
Good for her.
yep,
I'm getting to like her a lot.
yep. The servant,
So so you got to go through stuff.
you do.
When you see an opening, you just go, right? Go into the land I will show you. Wow. And you were willing to do that.
So in this, does it say there's 10 camels?
Oh, that's a great
It says
question.
that she put all the water into this trough for the camels, right?
Why did I think there were 10? Oh, yes, on
Oh.
verse 10. 10 camels, which is
Okay,
a lot of
yeah.
money. It's like going up with 10 Mercedes Benz.
Yeah.
Would you please put gas in my car?
Wow. The servant quietly watched her. He wanted to be sure the Lord had made his trip successful. After the camels had finished drinking, he gave Rebecca a gold ring weighing 1/5 of an ounce, 1/2 shekel, and 2 gold arm bracelets weighing about 4 ounces, 10 shekels. Each. He asked, "Who is your father?"
Boy, what is this extra gift stuff? Softening, I'd be suspicious. What's this sturdy? What is this old
Right.
man? Strange with the well?
Yeah. With the gold.
Here's all this gold. Although it's gold.
It is gold.
You don't want to be dumb.
Is there a
You
place in
do
his
not
house?
want to be dumb. It's
Yeah,
gold, baby.
it's true. Is there a place in his house for me and my men to spend the night?
Wow!
Talk
Everybody's
about
being.
direct.
Everybody's being. You like that, right?
He doesn't waste any time.
Up front.
Yep. Rebecca answered, "My father is Bethuel, the son of Milcah and Nahor."
So it's the family of Abraham.
Wow.
And Nahor is his brother.
Then she said, "And yes, we have straw for your camels and a place for you to spend the night." The servant bowed and worshipped the Lord and said, "Blessed is the Lord, the God of my master Abraham. The Lord has been kind and truthful to him and has led me to my master's relatives."
Now,
Interesting.
this would have been a believable story without the Lord, right? Do you think adding God to it, well, it certainly makes it sound better for Rebecca. Is it, I mean, God didn't do anything. unless there was a feel in the, you would know that, a feel in the air, you know, to say this out loud. And so maybe I like to think they're playing with the word God now. They've gotten beyond all of these difficult. This is a playful way to get your husband. This should be required reading for all OK Cupid fans. And we'll see if it works. What's next?
Then Rebecca ran and told her mother's family about.
So she's not just strolling. She is good for Rebecca. Wow.
She ran.
She's going.
She ran ahead.
Yeah, she's
just
doing
to
it.
try and,
Be alone and.
She told her mother's family about all these things. She had a brother named Laban.
Now notice very subtly. Who does she tell?
Her mother's family.
Right. So there is difficulty in this family. Big time. Because this was a patriarchal society.
Yes, definitely.
Mom, nothing to dad.
It says here, the girl ran and told her mother's household.
Yep.
Rebecca had a brother named, is it Laban or Laban?
Yeah, Laban.
Laban. Rebecca had a brother named Laban who ran out to Abraham's servant who was still at the spring. Laban had heard what she had said and had seen the ring and the bracelets on his sister's arms.
Right, they're no fools.
No.
And this is like a movie, really, yes? It's a movie script.
So we ran out to the well and
everybody's running, there's gold, and there's camels, and there's water.
And there was the man standing by the camels at the spring. Laban said, "Sir, you are welcome to come in. You don't have to stand outside. I have prepared the house for you and also have a place for your camels."
Didn't seem like he had a time to prepare, but
not at all.
they're all
They're curious and they're
and they're they're speaking in hyperbole. There will be because he didn't have time to prepare, so they're not quite telling the truth, but they're courting each other, stretching the truth a bit, to say the least.
So Abraham's servant went into the house. After Laban unloaded the camels and gave them straw and food, he gave water to Abraham's servant so he and the men with him could wash their feet. Then Laban gave the servant food, but the servant said, "I will not eat until I have told you why I came."
He's there all.
Yeah.
So this really is a manual to meet someone. You've got to be aware and set limits. I'm not even eating. I have something I want to tell you. I got to get it out. Because especially if Isaac is hurting bad, I just had this with someone selling me windows. You've got to be a good salesperson for this. Like my mother's father was a salesman who sold himself to my mother's mother when she was 15.
So Laban said, "Then tell us." He said, "I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master in everything."
Oh, richer than you imagine. You poor people back in Norwood, you wouldn't believe.
And he has become a rich man.
Yes, in case you missed it.
In case it's not obvious. The Lord has given him many flocks of sheep, herds of cattle, silver and gold, male and female servants, camels and horses.
Wow! How would you feel? Would you be interested in someone?
Very much. Right?
Yes, you would. 10 Mercedes.
Yep.
I've got, sounds like our president, I've got a golf club, a home in Florida, one in California, and you like it. Look at this. Feel free to write us, CCTV 438 Massachusetts Avenue, Cambridge 02138. We're open to marriage proposals from people who have 10 camels and sheep and goats and gold and silver. Feel free. This is my friend Sarah Brett.
And my friend Michael Coran.
Michael Coran. Yep.
Sarah, my master's wife, gave birth to a son when she was old, and my master has given everything he owns to that son. My master
That's
had
not quite true, of course, we'll see later,
Yeah.
but anyway.
my master had me make a promise to him and said, "Don't get a wife for my son from the Kenite girls who live around here. Instead, you must go to my father's people and to my family. There you must get a wife for my son." I said to my master, "What if the woman will not come back with me?" But he said, "I serve the Lord who will send his angel with you and will help you. You will get a wife for my son from my family and my father's people. Then you will be free from the promise. But if they will not give you a wife for my son, you will be free from this promise."
Wow, we're going to stop there dramatically. We'll be back next week. We have one more minute. What do you make it? This is answering our discussions beforehand.
Creative
Very creative.
relationships.
It's hope. 2020 is the year.
Yes.
Wow.
We all deserve, if we use our creativity, we deserve happiness.
But it really has to be creative.
Very.
He's selling a traumatized son. And Rebecca comes from, as you picked it up, a wounded family where the mother is in charge and there's no mention of the father at all. And if there's no mention of the father at all,
But just a mention of the brother.
so the father might be just like Isaac, really wounded.
Or maybe he's dead. Maybe he passed away.
Oh, either yes, we'll find
But
out
we'll
next
find
week.
out.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Blessings, blessings, romantic blessings, love blessings, fruitful, multiplied blessings, camels, cars, silver, gold,